Oh boy. Greetings and hellos and whatnot, people. I'm still coming over cold, and I have my dirty old Linux nerd tears mock to help me get on top of things. So, what we are going to do right now, or today, or however you will say it, is we're going to talk about English Bob, the original power user. Or the original Linux power user. Why? Well, because he's the one, the truth. Well, not the truth. He's the one and only true power user of Linux. Nobody is more of a power user than English Bob. That's just how it is. Okay? Deal with it. Why am I talking about power users? I made a video like a year or something like that ago, where I actually explained what a power user is. But nerds, geeks, people in comment sections, they love to use the term power user for using this distribution, that distribution, or doing these things and stuff like that. So I'm now going to tell you in really, really simple form why English Bob is not a power user, and why you are not a power user, and why I am not a power user. Are you angry at me yet? Are your tits twisted? Do you have your dick in the eyes? Are you ready to be angry in the comment section? Because here it is. There are kind of two really simplified ways of looking at a power user. And I think the original one was meant as a designation for an employee at a company. It would be, let's say, an accountant that you gave access to a little bit more administrative task in the accounting software. So they could set a user up, for example, or manage the permissions in the spreadsheets and so on and so on. That could be regarded as a power user. It was a designation that the administrator of the IT systems gave a user to basically be a little bit more elevated than a common user. That, again, really simplified, but think of it like that. So you can do a little bit more advanced things, or have access to a little bit more advanced things than the guy and girl next to you. That was how they did it back in the day, and still do it to this day. And it actually had you were called a power user. Nowadays they're calling all kind of crazy things because people want to have fancy titles. Because ego. And then there is the term that, are being used for nerds and geeks and likes people are like that. Again, like I said, my brain, I'm sick and stuff like that, so my voice is all over the place. Basically, what would be regarded as a power user is someone that used the system outside of the normal use case. You are doing things with the software, the operating system, that is not normal or common. That would be regarded as a power user. Really simplified. So, compiling the kernel under Linux, not a power user. Using Arch, not a power user. Installing third-party software under Linux, not a power user. Setting it up as a server, not a power user. Why? Because it's more the norm that it's not. Building your own Linux distribution from source, not Linux from scratch, but downloading the Linux kernel source code and building your own, let's say, package manager from scratch. Now we're talking power user. Downloading, compiling, and modifying the code in the kernel. Power user. Downloading, modifying, compiling. No, to suit you. Now you're a power user. You get the idea here. Most of the things that you see people do under Linux that you will be like, oh, but that's advanced. It may be advanced compared to Windows. But for the Linux world or ecosystem, that's the norm. If you're running Arch and you're doing the Arch things, you are not a power user because you're doing what 99 or 90% of other Arch people are doing. To be a power user, you need to do things that only, let's say, 5% of the user base are doing. Because you are customizing, modifying, bending, altering the software, the system, to do things that it may not is intended to do or built to do. So if you're just running Linux and you're just sitting there and doing Linuxy things, you're just an average user. And with that in mind, if you're going to talk about Linux people, there may only be one power user in the whole Linux world that are making content, and that could be N Commander. He's building compilers from scratch. He's compiling all Unixes from scratch. modifying them to work on modern systems. Chris Titus Tech, DistroTube, Mental Outlaw, me, English Bob, Sudo Reboot, Dan for Mario Linux, Asnick, they are not power users. Because what they do is not out of the norm for a Linux hobbyist to do. And they are not heavily modifying, altering, and using Linux and its software in new and different ways that it's not intended, aka using powerful things or powerful tools within the system to do really, really unique things. You could debate that an administrator is a power user, but that's why we call them administrator, So they are not really, again, think of a power user of someone that, if you're talking the corporate world, sits between a user and an administrator. In the hobbyist world, a power user is someone, again, that uses the system in ways that may not be intended or not commonly used as. So that could be using Linux for your fucking electrical dildo. Running Linux, like Ubuntu on your smartphone, could regard you as a power user. Because that's something that is outside of the norm. Take really, really great knowledge about your phone and how it works, and Ubuntu, how that works. That will be regarded as a power user. So before we go and throw this term around, actually understand what it means. A lot of people like to use words that they don't understand what they mean. Or have they don't have no understanding of it. Or they have a really, really, really basic understanding of it and then they throw it around. That's why we have dictionaries, people. That's why we have Wikipedia. That's why you go and research stuff like that. I was just like English Bob was in his life. Was what is a power user? I was in the same boat. So I took my one brain cell and I researched the internet for a day. And what I just told you is what I came up with from the explanation that I gathered from more than one place. Because here's the thing. You don't just get information from one place. You get information from as many places as possible to give kind of like an average. What is the most commonly used term for this word? Again, a lot of people, when they are researching, they find one source and that source back up what they already think. That's called confirmation bias. Not a good thing. So yeah, none of us are power users. Just because you educate Linux or teach Linux, don't make you a power user. Just make you a teacher. Or an influencer, what you will call yourself when you're on this fucking space here. See you all later. Bye-bye.